The cop who doesn't work here says it looks good.
Everybody's so welcoming.
Some really nice people so far. Now I'm heading to the museum. Look at this. What a gorgeous building. Oh, wow.
That we arrested the first tourist today. It was born out of the frustration with big corporations' takeover. It's Friendliest down in Ontario, you know?
Ice hockey, maple syrup, Mounties, the country north of the United States of America. These are all things we think about. Well, I did before I moved here when I thought about Canada. But if there's another thing that Canadians are really well known for, I'd have to say it's being nice. Canadians are nice, or in this instance, and for today's purpose, friendly. Now, why am I talking about friendliness, you ask? Because today I'm going to visit a town that makes claim to be the friendliest town in Ontario, which is, for the reasons we just stated, quite a claim. Now, this town is called Ridgetown, Ontario. It was incorporated in 1875, and it's home to about 2,700 people in the southern Ontarian agricultural heartland. So let's head to Ridgetown. Let's meet some locals, maybe some local business owners. Let's ask them, do you feel you live in the friendliest town in Ontario? And if so, why? So follow me this way. We're heading to Ridgetown, Ontario. We expect niceness and friendliness. Let's go. Okay, here we are. Welcome to Ridgetown. Inviting. I believe they used to make claim on this sign to be the friendliest town, but they don't seem to do that now. That's very nice. Not so lovely over here as a Crime Stoppers banner. Nothing less friendly than crime, so hopefully that isn't an issue here. And one thing you're immediately greeted with is kind of the importance of agriculture around here. I'm just entering the town, but right here we've got some kind of farm. So obviously agriculture is very important in these parts. So I think what I'll do is I'll head into town, which is this way, and I will park up because I'm quite peckish, grab some food, see if we can start by chatting to some people in town. Let's get into town. One thing you're kind of immediately struck with here, as I'm on, I believe, Main Street, is these beautiful Victorian-style buildings. Some in different states of repair to others, various states. You can see these buildings here above the shops. Now we've got this lovely town centre here, where I guess is the hub of activity in the town. Really nice, very welcoming, and good to look at. Okay, so Arlington 883, this looks like it was I know what it was, a business. Looks to be boarded up, which is not the most friendly, but up there in the window I see Heart AXD. So, looks like love. So that is quite friendly. Let's keep going. Hello. Look at this. Thinking of going in here. There's a cop here. Let's see if they know. Officer, I'm filming a short documentary on the friendliest town in Ontario. I've heard that this is a very friendly town.
Okay.
Do you know where's good to eat?
Honestly, I never even work up here.
I don't suppose there's too much crime here, right?
No.
No.
I've seen a lot of people go in and out of this place for lunch today.
Looks like a local spot, right?
Yeah.
Local spots have got to be good.
It's busy in there today.
Good. All right.
Maybe I'd recommend that one.
Okay, good. All right, I'm going to leave you to do your job, and I'm glad you staked out this restaurant for me. So take care. All right, we're heading to this diner. The cop who doesn't work here says it looks good, and they don't know the town at all. But anyway, let's go in. So this diner, it's been here for 40 years at least, the lady behind the counter tells me. They've got a cool little joke menu, all kinds of local food. Just ordered myself a burger and this awesome old jukebox. You don't see many of these anymore. Does not look like it works, but it's a great ornament nonetheless. So we're going to try the food. I can confirm the two women that work here behind, they're in the kitchen at the moment, are very, very nice. So looking forward to seeing what they got to offer. Okay, I'm here with my lovely host Danielle, who has just served me. Thank you for the lovely burger. Let me be can be the first person I ask this to. What do you think makes this town so friendly?
Everybody's so welcoming, and when new people come here, we welcome them with warm welcomes, and yeah.
And warm food.
Yes.
I can attest to that. The food was fantastic. I had the burger and fries.
Awesome.
So if you're in town, come to this diner, which is called
Yak Sailor Place.
Sailor Place. It's been here for 40 years. Enjoy it. And thank you, Danielle. Bye. Come to Yak's. I wasn't joking. Danielle wasn't joking. The food is actually really good. And it has stood there for 40 years. So yeah, really nice people. Helping the reputation of this town no end. And now we go on to find more friendly people. Another kind of boarded up building. The curtains at the top worn out. But you know what? They got the Canadian flags on the window, so they still got pride, you know? So even when things are falling apart here, they keep up something of a warm appearance. It's good to see. Gotta be honest, I needed that food because I was getting a little unfriendly in my hunger before there. So now we can go on the hunt. Look at this. Drive safe. Someone loves you. In loving memory of Wendy Clark. How nice is that? Beautiful. Yeah, drive safe, people. So far, I found people to be very friendly, a little modest and shy. But that's not uncommon outside of big city centres where people are used to people like me walking around with GoPros on a stick. So yeah, some really nice people so far. Now I'm heading to the museum. There is a local museum, the Ridge House, I believe it's called, this way. So I'm going to head this way and see who I can see. All right, so here we are. The Ridge House Museum. They must have known I was coming. They put a British flag up. A little bit of fence is missing. Hopefully that's not the way in. Let's go see if this place is open. It looks, in a word, old. Let's see if anyone's here. Historic building, 1874. So before the town was even incorporated. So in some ways, this house represents the origins of friendliness in this town. The social area where families and friends would gather. The dining table where they would eat. Let's find out more. Not a smile in sight. Not doing much for the reputation here, gang. But I suppose it was 1875 and probably minus 10 degrees in the house, so we'll let that one slide. So I just had a very enjoyable tour from Sarah here at the museum. Sarah unfortunately can't give interviews on camera because she works at the museum, which is totally understood. But I will say she was a big plus in the friendliness column. Very knowledgeable, very informative. And she even told me about a trail that I'm now going to visit. So there's a tree trail just down this way. And 5 or 10 minutes walk. And I shall be there. So we'll go and check that out. But if you're in town, if you're in Ridgetown, definitely visit the Ridge House. This great old house, built in 1874, 1875 time. Sarah will be here, or someone else, just basically waiting for you to walk in. And they'll give you a tour. So check it out. Now, off to the trail. $5 bags of wood. Very friendly price. Almost to the trail. Getting tired. So I'm not exactly sure on where the moniker Friendliest town in Ontario came from. I don't think it was bestowed upon Ridgetown from outside sources. I do know they used to have a summertime ritual where a police officer would pull over a tourist, like fake arrest them, give them a gift basket, make them tourist of the week, and it was quite, put it in the local paper. But I think apparently two things happened that kind of slowed that down. One was there's not a lot of police around here who are free to do that anymore. And I think the local police probably got somewhat concerned that members of the public would think they were arresting people or pulling them over for no good reason before they realized what was up. So anyway, I don't know if they still do that, but they maybe used the name Friendliest Town as a bit of a gimmick. Can't blame them. I'm here. Let's keep exploring. Right, we made it to the trail. Let's go and see if we can find some friendly walkers. Rocco the rock snake. Local community is painting rocks and creating, you guessed it, a snake. Look at this. Yep. That's pretty awesome. So the trail walk was fun. I won't pretend to have done all that much of it, but they have a lot of really nice benches like this commemorating people. This one says Donald Mason, June 44 to May 23, loved by his family. We've got a lot of stuff like that, chairs, benches, stones, which I think is really nice. And I think actually a lot of the charm of this town, and here's another one, look, stone bench. A lot of the charm and maybe warmth of this town is kind of how they preserve it. You've got the Victorian buildings, you've got nature trails like this. They recognize local community members who helped set this stuff up. They have fun little snake stones like this. And the people are modest and kind and warm and shy. It's a good combination. All adds to it. It's not all about Ned Flanders Headley Hoodley doing. Some of it is just a feeling, right? A feeling. So this is what we talk about when we talk about charm. Look at this. What a gorgeous building. What is this? This is a Victorian house, obviously, and it was built around 1880. 2 wings, 3 stories. This would have been someone with a bit of money. I won't read the whole thing. Lovely. Very well preserved. Look at this garden. Nice. I am here at the Ridgetown Independent. I've been fortunate enough to link up with Jim, the proprietor of this weekly published newspaper for the town. And as you heard earlier on the video, I was talking about the Tourist of the Week program, which kind of really drove some of the friendly reputation of this town. And Jim's going to talk to us a little bit about this now.
Okay, well, our Tourist of the Week program actually was it was just something that needed to be done. You know, it was just like a program, and actually it was started by the late Doug Smith. Doug Smith was our recreation director for the town. Very nice gentleman, a good friend of mine too. And he started the program back in our first, and interesting enough that you're here today, this was our first one of this year.
Oh, wow.
That we arrested the first tourist today. First one was July the 13th, 1968. So we've seen a lot of people over the years. And it was started with the Ridgetown Recreation Committee and the Ridgetown Chamber of Commerce at the time. And it was in cooperation with the Dominion Press. That was the paper prior to us. We worked for them. We're a new paper now.
Okay.
The Ridgetown OPP, that's when we had the Ontario Provincial Police. And the Tourism Committee, which was through the museum. Then in 1988, that was when we amalgamated. Wasn't the greatest thing, but we're amalgamated. and then it was still with the Chamber of Commerce, the Tourist Committee, the Chatham-Kent Police, the Ridgetown Independent News, and Ridge House Museum.
So prior to 1988, there's programs set up where on a weekly basis, and you'll go into it, the police would stop an unsuspecting tourist,
Yes.
and you'll tell us some details about that, and what would happen from there?
Previously when we had the OPP doing it, and it was once a week during the summertime, all the merchants got together and we put a nice package together of, it could be coupons or it could be something as simple as a coffee mug, but coupons, free ice cream cones, maybe a meal. It was always different. But the police would watch, and usually they knew even by reading the plates, well, here's somebody from out of town, somebody out of town. And they would actually pull them over, scared some of them, and basically charge them for entering the friendliest town in Ontario. Our local reps would get together and we would read them a citation and present that to them and present them with our basket of goodies. We'd photograph them for our records, which also was photographed for the paper, and had them sign our guest book. And over the years, we've done many of them. We've had them from Rondo Park. We've had tourists that were arrested from, they're just visiting Rondo Park, all the way to New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
Holland. And now granted, about it kind of went by the wayside in the 2000s, and then naturally with COVID, it kind of stopped. But so we've had a spell when we weren't doing it, but it is such a wonderful program. We resurrected it last year for every other week, and now we're back to every week for 2 months in the summertime. And actually, how it really got it was just Tourists of the Week. The tagline, which the municipality has used since then, is someone was so impressed with the whole process, they wrote into Reader's Digest, and Reader's Digest did a story on it. And they tagged the story as Ridgetown, the friendliest town in Ontario.
Fantastic.
And
so not only a great word-of-mouth kind of enterprise where tourists were going to come here. It's a story. It's a day they're not going to forget. I'm sure some of them had a heart palpitation as they're pulled over by the local police, or they're wondering if they paid their insurance or something. But I can imagine that it was a thrill to get a gift basket, and it makes it that much more memorable an adventure that they're going to tell people about. So word of mouth, people know that this happens in Ridgetown. And you were saying off camera that even sometimes people could go down to the jail and pose for a picture there if they wanted?
Yeah, we heard that. Now, back when we had the old municipal building, which had it had the post office and the jail, and they had the jail cells, and back at that time, people could go down in the basement and have their picture taken, and we tried to get to some of the local events and such on what's going on, but it's been a good program, and it's fun.
It's fun, yeah. Adds a bit of life a bit of color into the town. Okay, so Jim has been kind enough to take me in the back of the Ridgetown Independent and kind of give me a little bit of backstory into the origins. This is an independently run, family-run really, newspaper. So, Jim, what was it born out of?
It was born out of the frustration with big corporations' takeover. Barb and I, the staff at that time, in fact, most of them come over at that time. The former paper, which was a good paper, Ridgetown Dominion, had been here for a long time, and but it got bought out, and then again it got bought out and bought out and bought out and bought out, and they kept changing the rules and tightening them up, and they lost the sense of community until finally I convinced my sister-in-law at the time, who was publisher of that paper, they'd had enough. And we opened a paper up. We decided on one Friday, and 1 week later we had a paper on the street.
Wow.
Interesting enough to tell you how much corporate was liked. The advertisers quickly jumped. But we had help with the neighboring. At that time, the Townsville Herald and the Blenheim Tribune helped us get going. And that was 30 years ago.
Wow.
And we're still going strong. We enjoy what we do. We have fun doing it, but
That's fantastic. And you publish weekly?
we publish weekly.
Yeah. And what happened to the corporate paper?
Interesting enough, they closed down 1 week before their 100th paper.
And that was
100th year.
how long after you opened?
We went head to head for about a year.
Oh, wow.
They fought us for about a year, which was actually their. That's what they've done in other communities, but it's changed a lot. I mean, when we started the business, we still, it wasn't the computers that we have today.
Of course, no. And that's fascinating. So you got to love a community to say, firstly, like you did, I'm not doing this anymore. You're kind of, I won't put words in your mouth, but ruining the paper that I'd loved and that you'd love to represent.
They weren't supporting the community.
Oh, weren't supporting the community. That's a
Well,
better way of putting
they
it.
come out and they come down to those silly things like, don't waste the paper printing bowling scores
Yeah.
or local sports. And those are the kids. That's mom and dad bought the paper for that
Yeah.
reason. Or I'll tell you what, the day I quit, as silly as it is, the day I'd had enough, is they come down from Toronto and told us not to print the Women's Institute news.
Oh, wow.
And I'd had enough. I said, if you're not going to support the community, I don't want no part of it.
Well, there's nothing silly about it. We were chatting off camera, and I remember, I'll never forget when I was a boy and I played soccer, or football as we call it in Britain, and you'd score a goal and your local paper would have your name in the paper, and you better believe you're buying that paper.
Yeah.
Or like you say with the Women's Institute, if they've got 5 kids, they're all buying that paper to see what mum's been up to. And I think it's fantastic and really a sign of love for the community that you would take that jump to produce a newspaper that you felt supported the community you lived in.
Yeah, it is. We hear, and I even hear locally, they're saying, "Oh well, I'm part. We're the old school. Go today. You got to be on social media and stuff." No, first off, I don't care for social media personally.
Except for this, of course.
Well, I mean for people getting the news off of social media.
Of course.
The part of social media where people just get on there and attack everything.
Of course, yeah.
That's unfortunate. It's. But it's part. I hope that we hold the community together.
Yeah.
We do a lot through here. I mean, our counters usually got tickets from 3 or 4 clubs on it, selling tickets. Well, actually, there's the buckets over here for our Tourist of the Week, which we're
Nice. And do you survive on kind of, how many journalists do you have writing, and do you have like volunteers helping you get things together?
actually we do have a couple of volunteer writers.
Yeah.
Actually, but we do have a reporter. We have an LGI reporter now, and Barb writes, I write, and like here's getting ready for the rest of summer's Tourist of the Week.
Yeah.
Each one of these is a little.
Oh, here we go, folks. A little glimpse into what you might win. I won't put the camera there too long, but I think that's fantastic. And to me,
and a little part of history, like that's our old municipal office, and a gentleman built that by hand. And where does some of this stuff go? I know sometimes my brother gets it. We gather up history, like we have all the old books, all the bound copies of the old papers, even the old Dominion here.
Fantastic.
So if somebody wants to come in, because there's a lot of history.
Of course, and I think that's what's fantastic about this. You're keeping something going, a traditional form of journalism that people appreciate, and kind of what we all grew up with. And also, you're preserving a bit of the town. And
small town papers are still doing fine.
Yeah.
The small mom and pop shops are still doing fine.
Before I head out from the newspaper, I just want to say a big thanks to these two gentlemen. We've been chatting for quite a while. Al, Jim, pleasure to learn about the town and what makes this place such a great community, because I got a feeling you're a big part of that. So absolute pleasure meeting with you both, and thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure having you in here, and stop again anytime. It's Friendliest down Ontario,
It is. Thank you. So the Ridgetown Independent News. I cannot tell you how generous with this time Jim was and Al was. They got stories for days. We just sat and talked when I probably should have been filming, but Friendly doesn't really cover it. They were wonderful people. All right, let's see if we can stop for a coffee. Hello. Okay, so sadly, my time in Ontario's friendliest town has come to an end. Quick shout out to all the people that spoke to me on camera today, Danielle, Jim, Al, just truly lovely people, very, very warm. Jim and Al, what characters. Could have talked to them for hours and hours. And yeah, Ridgetown. Is it the friendliest town in Ontario? You're gonna have to come and see for yourself, but I had a great time. People treated me very, very well. It's got a great feel about it, a great sense of community, a great sense of history, and it's a warm place. Visit it, give it a look, cast your vote, and if you're lucky, you might be arrested as the Tourist of the Week. So thanks for watching, catch you next time.